What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content daily. We also stream over on Twitch at This Is Aftersound, so come by and say hello. Okay, so now that the Waka hype has died down a little bit, I know we have the secondary sale coming, but there's about 500 Wakas that are in in circulation right now, and if you haven't come across one yet, you probably will come across one soon. So the thing is, I wanted to just go through what are some of the strategies that I use, and specifically for this video, immunity against a card like Waka. Now, why is immunity so strong? Well, because immunity makes all of your monsters, not all of your monsters, it makes the monster that has it immune to negative status effects. So the monster will not have any kind of negative thing from opponents, whether that's reducing the amount of damage, reducing their health, reducing their attack, whatever the case is, it will not have it. And that includes also poison and probably affliction, I believe. So what is important here is the cards that are available. So I've pulled in all of the cards that have immunity, and we can see the levels that they're at. Now, before I dive into this, I do want to say that from what I've seen with Waka and what I've heard kind of just across all the different social platforms, Waka has a very diminishing return the higher level you get. So in bronze and silver, very dominating, but then as you get to gold and then diamond plus or just maxed out cards, not as much, mainly because some of the rule sets get to be much higher mana at that point, and also the monsters, when they are leveled up, tend to start getting a bunch of other abilities that can really help dictate how what happens in the game, so much so that poison on all of your monsters isn't going to be as dominating as it would be in, say, bronze or maybe silver. So that's something just to keep in mind as we go through here, because I think it's going to be important to really highlight the cards that are available at the bronze and silver levels with immunity. So let's go ahead and start all the way from the left here. Now, Forgotten One of my favorite cards overall. It is an epic card for the Fire Splinter. It is part of Chaos Legion, so it's not like crazy priced right now, actually. And I think you get this at level 1, which I think is really, really huge. So even if you're just playing in a regular poison rule set, having this card can be the difference between winning and losing. So Forgotten One is probably going to be one of my favorites. As the card gets a little bit, as the card gets leveled up, you do get some other great abilities. So Retaliate and Pierce. But even just having immunity at level 1, I think is really clutch. Now, Caladium is another fire monster that has this. I'm not as big a fan on Caladium, mainly because 1, super slow, but 2, you don't get immunity until level 3 for gold. So, sorry, it's not that I'm not a fan of Caladium in general. I'm saying I'm not a fan of Caladium as an anti-Waka card. Now, there could be a situation where, you're playing in gold and it's like reverse rule set or something like that. So, obviously, it can come in very, very handy at that point. But seeing as it's not really bronze and silver friendly, I didn't want to give it more credit than I think it deserves. Now, Poseidon is another one that is at that same level, so you don't get it until level 3. And actually, let's just go ahead. We're gonna skip Korra Tower's Head, because this is a Gladius card. So unless you're playing in Brawls right now, which I actually am not, so unless you're playing in Brawls, you wouldn't even get this until level 3 either. And then Epona, once again, is level 3, but Epona is more of a support card, so I don't know that this would necessarily be part of your Waka or anti-Waka strategy. Now, this is probably going to be one of my favorite cards for this, maybe one of my favorite cards along with Forgotten One, and that is Crawlus, because with Crawlus, you do get immunity at level 1. And not only do you get immunity, I believe you get flying as well, and this is a double attack. Now, keep in mind, this is a bigger monster. Sorry, not bigger monster, a giant. I don't know why I said bigger monster. A giant. So they are susceptible to Giant Killer, which is the double damage against monsters that have 10 or more mana. Now, I think, at level 1, this card's great, obviously, for just any kind of poison rule sets or whenever you're playing against poison because of immunity. But at level 2 is where I think this card can really shine. So if you are able to play at level 2, and again, level 2, the minimum league that you'll need to be in is silver. So Crawlus is probably one of the better ones because then you get heal at that point too, and that could come in obviously much more handy than Forgotten One, which doesn't have heal. Adelaide Brightwing, here's another one that you don't get until level 3. Great card though. I love this card, and it's one of my favorites overall. So if you're playing in gold, sure, go for it. Harklaw. This is probably the third of my favorite cards, or at least in the top 3. So we're going Forgotten One, Crawlus, and then Harklaw in this group. Now, Harklaw gets immunity at level 2, so it's going to be at silver level. And again, you know, if you're playing in bronze, it's going to be tough regardless. I don't know who would be playing with Waka in bronze at this point, but you know what? If you're gonna rent it out and play with it, more power to you. So, but Harklaw, I really like Harklaw. One of the few tanks in the Death Splinter that has shield, and you get that at level 1, and then immunity at level 2. So really, really like that as an option. Now, Dragon Spirit, you don't get it until level 3, and even then, this is not really an offensive card, so not necessarily my favorite. And then Almo Cambio, I really like Almo for lots of things, but in a game like this, you need, to me, I would much rather have an offensive card, or a card that can do some kind of damage, because you know you're going to be fighting off against other monsters. If it's just a poison rule set, Almo is actually one of the best cards out there to play, especially in the lower levels, because you do get immunity at level 1. He's decently fast, and yeah, I mean it's just a fun card to be able to play at those levels. Also, the fact that it's a neutral makes it very, very versatile. But when you're playing against Waka, you do need to get some kind of offense going. So at least from what I'm seeing here and what I'm going to give you, you have options in 3 out of the 5 splinters. And so that is Forgotten One, Forgotten One for Fire, Crawlus for Life, and then Harklaw for Death. And I know I did say 5 splinters because Dragon is kind of like an extra splinter, but you still get to choose another splinter to play it with. So you could technically pick a Dragon Summoner and play it with one of these cards. So 3 out of 5 is pretty good in my book. Hopefully that's helpful for you guys. And to end this off, I will say that in most games that I play against Waka, I find my best strategy to actually be just playing to the best of my deck's ability, right? So focus on what I'm trying to do and not really play defensively. Play offensively, and how do I attack them? How do I take them out as quickly as possible? Yada, 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 all that fun stuff. So I'm not necessarily taking into account the poison, right? The poison is going to hurt me, but the maximum that it can do on average is going to be 6 damage per turn, right? And the way that I arrive at that is if all of your monsters get poisoned, if it hits 50% of the time and you have 6 monsters on the field, then you know, you're going to have at least 3 of those get it on average in your battles. So 6 damage per turn can be a lot, but I don't know that you need to really dig into the immunity side of things in order to go for it. I mean, the thing is, if I was playing against a Waka, I would probably play a Harklaw or a Forgotten One. I don't have a Crawlus, but I would definitely play one if I had one. But I would try to find other ways to mitigate that, or just, like I said, play as offensively as possible to kill the other monsters as quickly as possible. So hopefully this was helpful for you guys, can give you and gave you a little bit of an overview on the immunity ability and which monsters have it at what level. Hopefully there's a couple of options here for you guys who are playing in the bronze and silver leagues. And yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. If you've played with Waka, if you've played against Waka, would love to hear what your experience has been. So that is all I have for you. Have an amazing rest of your day, guys. I will catch you all in the next video, and I will see you in and around the game. Take care.